Mic check. Welcome to wait 8 minutes in, and I'm so out of touch, man. Sorry, guys. It's a stress. I need to listen to that voice notes. Regardless of any technical glitch that might be ongoing today, I just I just want to get I just want to get this stream. I just want to make it happen, and then I can try to fix whatever another time that is not today, right? And apart from just wanting to eat the, should I say, milestone of doing the first proper live reading session, which I don't even consider this to be. I think this has been botched from being capable of being regarded as such. Um, I personally feel more than any one of you all that would perhaps watch me do this today, I need this. I need Jesus right now counseling me, like literally holding my hands. You know what? If you don't try, or you say try for this side. I just I guess I just want to do this. So in the last stream, we read through the forward. We read through everything apart from any of the chapters, and then this stream we are going to start with chapter one, which is regarded in this stream as issue one. Welcome to that. I hope the sound of the video is clear. Which can be regarded as issue one, and it says, "How can I make my prayer life more effective?" Well, I hope this helps whoever is listening and viewing right now, as much as it's I expect to help me. Um, let's transition to the live scene, wherein you will be able to watch me accordingly as I read it. So we are up to reading issue one, which says, I don't know why I clicked exiting OBS there for a moment mistakenly. We're reading issue one, which says, "How can I make my prayer life more effective?" Find a quiet, secluded place so you won't be tempted to role play before God. Now, the way these readings are going to go is I'm going to try and, just read them, but at the same time, explain what I feel I understand by what's being said at that particular point. And if you have a perspective at my explanation that you feel is otherwise from how I perceive what this author is explaining accordingly in what we are reading, feel free to let me know in the comment section and also literally talk about it with me. All right. It says, find a quiet, secluded place so you won't be tempted to role play before God. Just be there as simply and honestly as you can manage. I do that a lot. Don't be tempted to want to pray in a crowd, okay? Don't be tempted to want to appear like you are really praying to anyone, whether be it when you're in the gathering of the brethren in church, that is, or a Christian meeting. The focus will shift from you to God. Because in that kind of moment, I think if you genuinely, or at the very least, are attempting to be a really genuine Christian, you realize it's you and God. And who takes priority in that moment? It's God, is above you and all of that. So the focus really would shift. Because apart from God really being above you and all of that, the focus will shift because most cases, from experience as a human, I know when we pray, we want God to listen. We are looking for something. So definitely the focus will be on God if you are not so busy, distracted by wanting to not look some way to those that will be watching you pray. The focus will shift from you to God and you will begin to sense His grace. The world is full of so called prayer warriors who are prayer ignorant. They are full of formulas and programs and advice, peddling techniques, forgetting what you want from God. God didn't fall for that nonsense. Don't fall for that nonsense. This is your father you are dealing with, and he knows better than you what you need. With a God like this loving you, you can pray very simply like this: the Lord's Prayer, Our Father in heaven. Reveal who you are. Set the word right. Do what's best as above, so below. Keep us alive with free square meals. This version of the Lord's Prayer is interesting. I don't think I've actually read this version of the Lord's Prayer before. Keep us forgiven with you and forgiving others. Keep us safe from ourselves and the devil. You are in charge. You can do anything you want. You are blazing beauty. Yes, yes, yes. Who else loves that? I think I love this. I love this. Yeah, I'll stick to the original in most cases, but I do love this. In prayer, there is a connection between what God does and what you do. You can't get forgiveness from God, for instance, without also forgiving others. Hmm. If you refuse to do your part, you cut yourself off from God's path. Yeah, right? I am there. Don't bargain with God, be direct. AKA, don't play coy with God. Don't try to be smart with God. You would lose. Don't do that. Don't bargain with God, be direct. Ask for what you need. This isn't a cat and mouse hide and seek game we're in. Don't try to go through the corners. Go straight to the point. When two of you get together on anything at all on earth and make a prayer of it, my Father in heaven goes into action. That's our Father in heaven. And when two or three of you are together because of me, you can't be sure that I'll be there. This is literally quoting a place, a verse from the Bible of Jesus saying this. And me saying that's my Father, our Father, is on the basis of, through Christ, who, who came around to atone for our sins and make us sons and daughters of God. Basically, when he says his Father, he's talking about our Father. Yeah, I like to claim that, it's my right to claim for his death. That's why I urge you to pray for absolutely everything, ranging from small to large. And when you assume the posture of prayer, remember that it's not all asking. Hmm. Oh, yeah, you shouldn't just go to Christ, through Christ, to God, to just ask, 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 ask. All right, come on. Be human about this in a way and think of it like this. If it was you, someone you care for, you cater for with your all, always just comes to ask and ask and ask and ask. Won't you get tired at some point and really wants to hear something else? Won't you get tired at some point that if you do not approach in a similarly much more palatable way, you will just be like, it can wait. If you have anything against someone, forgive. Only then will your heavenly Father be inclined to also wipe your slate clean of sins. There was once a judge in some city who never gave God a thought and cared nothing for people. A widow in that city kept after him. My rights are being violated. Protect me. He never gave her the time of day. But after this went on and on, he said to himself, I cannot see what God thinks, even less what people think. But because this widow won't quit badgering me, I'd better do something and see that she gets justice. The power of consistency, you see. Otherwise, I'm going to end up beating black and blue by a pounding. Then the master said, do you hear what that judge, corrupt as he is saying? So what makes you think God won't step in and work justice for his chosen people who continue to cry for help? Won't he stick up for them? From now on, whatever you request along the lines of who I am and what I am doing, I'll do it. That's how the Father will be seen for who he is in the Son. I mean it. Whatever you request in this way, I'll do. I urge you to pray for absolutely everything, ranging from large to small. I think there's a part to really note. I pray for anything. Right now, I'm praying for my laptop's charger. I'm praying for my laptop, basically. I'm praying for a GPU that works well to work way better. Because the truth is, the earth is of the Lord and its fullness thereof. So anything existing herein, be it supposedly as small as an atom or as big as it being larger than life, at least to your own perspective of view, it is all within God's domain. And effecting a change that you desire accordingly or the said thing is within God's grasp. So if it's small and somehow you've not managed to get it done, why don't you talk to God about it? Don't just wave it off as it's not that much of a big deal. Why do I have to pet up God about it? God never said you should choose what to and what not to pray for. He never said you should choose what to and what not to pray about. He simply said, pray without ceasing. And specifically in that particular verse says, pray about everything, be it large or small. Okay? Let's continue. Issue 2. When people hurt me, I find it hard to forgive. Let me tell you a story. The kingdom of God is like a king who decided to square accounts with his servants. As he got square accounts with his servants. As he got on that way, one servant was brought before him who had run up a debt of $100,000. He couldn't pay up. So the king ordered the man, along with his wife, children, and goods, to be auctioned off at the slave market. God, I beg you. The poor wretch threw himself at the king's feet and begged, God, I beg you. I literally just said that. And begged, give me a chance and I'll pay it all back. Touched by his plea, the king let him off, erasing the debt. Oh, God, I beg you. Erasing his debt. The servant was no sooner out of the room when he came upon his fellow servants who owed him $10. Oh, hell nah. He seized him by the throat and demanded, pay up now. Bad attitude, man. A lot of people will get ruined by just their attitude. Pay up now. The poor wretch threw himself down and begged, give me a chance and I'll pay it all back. But he wouldn't do it. He had him arrested and put in jail until his debt was paid. When the other servants saw this going on, they were outraged and brought a detailed report to the king. The king summoned the man and said, you evil servant, I forgave your entire debt when you begged me for mercy. Shouldn't you be compelled to be merciful to your fellow servant who asked for mercy? The king was furious and put the screws to the man until he paid back his entire debt. And this exactly And that's exactly what my Father in heaven is going to do to each one of you who doesn't forgive unconditionally. Anyone who asks for mercy. This is how I want you to conduct yourself in these matters. If you enter your place of worship and about to make an offering, you suddenly remember a grudge a friend has against you, abandon your offering, leave immediately, go to this friend and make things right. Then and only then, come back and work things out with God. Our Father is kind. You be kind. Don't pick on people, jump on their failures, criticize their faults, unless, of course, you want the same treatment. Don't condemn those who are down. That hardness can boomerang. Be easy on people, you find life a lot easier. In prayer, there is a connection between what God does and what you do. You can't get forgiveness from God, for instance, without also forgiving others. If you refuse to do your part, you cut yourself off from God's part. I see a connection in a way, guys. So you would notice the first part, which we read, issue one, spoke about praying and how to pray in a way. And then it's stated already in that first part, wherein it was rephrasing in a way the Lord's Prayer, that there is a connection in what you do and what God does and how He acts in accordance to responding to your prayer. And then in this particular issue that talks about when people hurt me, I find it hard to forgive. It lets you know it's all about as it is above, so it is below. As it is in heaven, you know, it's being so here. At the end of the day, it's all about how open can are you, how good can you be? God can multiply that in folds that you could possibly not imagine. But for it to happen at all in the first place, you have to make a move. You have to make a move. Okay. You have to take a step. You have to be good in a way at the very least, for starters. The network is spiking all over the place, guys. Just in case you're watching and you're like, what's happening? What's happening? Is the internet? Sorry. Hold on, guys. I'm trying to see if there's anything I could do. This is why the last stream I had done it late into the night. I think we're about to get to issue three. The issues are always like really, really short, but just that there's a lot of them. Like, take note, we're going to all the way to issue 50. Be easy on people, you will find life a lot easier. Now, you see what I said just earlier, right? Because I saw where all of this was going as regards how it's trying to explain what's happening. It says, be easy on people, you will find life a lot easier. It's not lagging. Okay. You are not being a lot easier on people. You just need to be easy on people. And then you find life a lot easier. What's the secret of living under God's blessing? You're blessed when you are at the end of your rope. With less of you, there is more of God and His rule. You're blessed when you feel you have lost what is most dear to you. Only then can you be embraced by the one most dear to you. Christ, felt like I was reading a poem for a moment. Oh, sorry, I didn't show this. Let's take that again, guys. You're blessed when you are at the end of your rope. With less of you, there is more of God and His rule. You're blessed when you feel you've lost what is most dear to you. Only then can you be embraced by the one most dear to you. Ah, yeah. This is poetry. You're blessed when you've worked up a good appetite for God. You are blessed when you're content with just who you are, no more, no less. That is the moment you find yourself proud owners of everything that can't be bought. You're blessed when you've worked up a good appetite for God. His food and drink in the best meal you will ever eat. Only communion. You're blessed when you care. At the moment of being careful, you find yourself cared for. Lines, they cry. You're blessed when you get your inside word, your mind and your heart put right. Then you can see God in the outside world. Word. You're blessed when you can show people how to cooperate instead of compete or fight. That's when you discover who you really are and your place in God's family. You're blessed when your commitment to God provokes persecution. The persecution drives you even deeper into God's kingdom. Not only that, count yourself blessed every time people put you down or throw you out or speak lies about you to discredit me. What it means is that the truth is too close for comfort and they are uncomfortable. You can be glad when that happens. Give it a cheer. Even. But though they don't like it, I do. And all heaven applauds. And know what you are in and know that you are in good company. My prophets and witnesses have always gotten into this kind of trouble. You're blessed when you're content with just who you are, no more, no less. I get where this is from. This is from the Beatitudes. And the way this man, Selwyn, is, wrote this just speaks of him as a poet in a way, even though he didn't particularly put that in his profile, which was specified in some places earlier that we read in the previous stream. Jesus Christ, I felt like I was reading poetry. The Bible itself is a form of literature. Just that it is really manual. I'm loving this. So issue 4. Is there a point to me being in this world? I like him. I would like this answer. I like the question, and I know this answer is always taking cue from Christ. The answers we've been reading, so I think I will love this one. Let me tell you why you're here. You're here to be salt seasoning. Salt of the word, salt of the earth. Let me tell you why you're here. You're here to be salt seasoning that brings out the God flavors of this earth. If you lose your saltiness, how will people taste godliness? You've lost your usefulness and will end up in the garbage. Here's another way to put it. You're here to be light, bringing out the God colors in the world. God is not a secret to be kept. We are going public with this public as a city on a hill. If I make you light bearers, you don't think I'm going to hide you under a bucket, do you? I'm putting you on a light stand. Now I've put you there on a hilltop, on a light stand. Shine. Keep open house. Be generous with your lives. By opening up to others, you prompt people to open up with God. This generous Father in heaven. Let me give you a new command. Love one another in the same way I loved you. You love one another. This is how everyone will recognize that you are my disciples. When they see the love you have for each other. Here is a simple rule of thumb guide for behavior. Ask yourself what you want people to do for you. Then grab the initiative and do it for them. Add up God's law and prophets, and this is what you get. Quid pro quo. In a way, quid pro quo basically says nothing goes for nothing. But in a way, this quid pro quo being that you get what you give. You get what you give. Just that you stand a chance of getting it in multiple folds than you gave up. You're here to be salt seasoning that brings out the God flowers of this earth. I worry about money and material things. Issue 5. Before we get started with issue 5, let me share on Instagram that we're live. I remind the folks from WhatsApp that we are still live. So issue 5 says, aware about money and material things. Don't hoard treasure down here where it gets eaten by moths and corroded by rust, or worse, stolen by burglars. Stockpile treasure in heaven where it's safe from moths and rust and burglars. It's obvious, isn't it? The place where your treasure is the place where you most want to be and end up being. You can't worship two gods at once. Loving one God, you end up hating the other. Adoration of one feeds contempt for the other. You can't worship God and money. Both. You can't. If you decide for God, living a life of God worship, it follows that you don't fuss about what's on the table at meal times or whether the clothes in your closet are in fashion. I worry about the GPU in my laptop though. There is far more to life than the food you put in your stomach, or the GPU in your laptop, or the chipsets in your PC. More to your outer appearance than the clothes you hang on your body. Look at the bed, free and unfettered, not tied down to a job description, careless in the care of God, and you can't far more to Him than beds. And He has actually quite turned up for me in times I thought I was down and out in the most unexpected of manners, because that's just God, he works things out. Has anyone by forcing in front of the mirror ever gotten taller or by so much as an inch? All it makes all this time and money wasted on fashion. Do you think it makes that much difference? Instead of looking at the fashions, walk out into the fields and look at the white flowers. They never prim or shop. But have you ever seen color and design quite like it? The 10 best dressed men and women in the country look shabby alongside them. If God gives such attention to the appearance of white flowers, most of which are never even seen, don't you think He would attend to you? Take pride in you, do His best for you. What I'm trying to do here is to get you to relax, not be so preoccupied with getting, so you can respond to God's giving. People who don't know God and the way He works fuss over these things. But you know both God and how He works. Keep your life in God's reality, God's initiative, God's provision. Don't worry about missing out. You'll find all your everyday human concerns will be met. Give your entire attention to what God is doing right now. And don't get worked up about what may or may not happen tomorrow. God will help you deal with whatever things come up when the time comes. This makes me feel so good in a way I can't really explain. It's quite unexpected. It's there is nothing particularly that we just read here. Yeah, that is quite new to my hearing. But it's ah human nature, Worry, 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 worry. You don't really get nothing done by it. You count far more to him than birds. And I can't remember seeing a bird die from starvation or from lack of feathers or from I don't know. They just fly. They just do their job. So I'm afraid to surrender to God's will for my life. Yeah, I have a problem with this in a way. Not like I've not surrendered and all of that. Like, and we call it blind surrender or absolute, you know. Anyways, let's get on with it. Anyone who intends to come with me has to let me lead. You're not in the driver's seat. Jesus, take the wheel. I am. Don't run from suffering. Embrace it. Uh-huh. Follow me and I'll show you how. Self-help is no help at all. I no fear myself. Self-sacrifice is the way, my way, to saving yourself, your true self. What good would it do to get everything you want and lose you, the real you? What good what could you ever trade your soul for? Did you plug something? Hold on guys, I'm plugging. Did the sound of the gen not change? Okay. Sorry guys, I was thinking that we were having some electrical issue. If your hand or your foot gets in the way of God, chop it off and throw it away. You are better off maimed or lame and alive than the proud owners of two hands, 2 feet, godless in the furnace of eternal fire. I think this place most times is misconstrued. God doesn't necessarily want us to maim ourselves. Just like it would tell you in some Bible verses will tell it to you that you should keep your flesh under control, under the subjects, under being the subjects, being subject to the spirits, right? So you could actually control your arm and your your bodily parts, not to get in the way of God. It's talking mostly even about that. That's a metaphor, by the way. That's the simplest way to explain what I'm saying now. It's mainly talking about, let's say, your love for something else being something that is making it hard for you to keep up with your love for God. You let it go. You let it go because it is better that you are able to enjoy much more later than to live in the, the facade of some quick pleasure. And if your eye distracts you from God, pull it out and throw it away. You're better off one eye than alive than exercising your 2020 vision from inside the fire of hell. Seems like somebody reissued this book around year 2020. So he included that worldwide good of Vision 2020 and all of that stuff that was raining then. Because this book press release is said to update it back to the year 2001 also. Do you want to stand out? Then step down, be a servant. If you puff yourself up, you get the wind knocked out of you. But if you are content to simply be yourself, your life will count for plenty. Your life will count for plenty. If you don't go all the way with me through thick and thin, you don't deserve me. If your first concern is to look after yourself, you never find yourself. But if you forgot about yourself and look to me, you'll find both yourself and me. Don't be naive. Some people will impugn your motives. Others will smear your reputation just because you believe in me. Don't be upset when they haul you before the civil authorities. Without knowing it, they've done you and me a favor, giving you a platform for preaching the good kingdom news. And don't worry about what you say or how you will say it. The right words will be there. The Spirit of the Father will supply the words. Now, quick fact: the best poetry performance I ever did, the best performances I ever gave, most of them came off me about to climb the stage and remembering to say, apart from me, praying and all of that, and remembering to say, okay, God, let's do this. Most of the times, you don't particularly know, especially quote unquote, quote for quote, word for word, what you actually want to go say there. But with God by your side, oof, the intellect, my dear, my mind, it's always available. When people realize it is the living God you are presenting and not some idol that makes them feel good, they are going to turn on you. Even people in your own family. This is a great irony here. Proclaiming so much love, experiencing so much hate, but don't quit. Don't cave in. It is all well worth it in the end. Don't quit. Don't cave in. It is all worth it in the end. If you forget about yourself and look to me, you'll find both yourself and me. Issue 7. When someone has hurt me, what should I do? If a fellow believer hurts you, I think this will resonate with this will go kind of like in line with the earlier issue we read that talks about finding it hard to forgive. If a fellow believer hurts you, go and tell him, work it out between the two of you. If he listens, you've made a friend. If he won't listen, take one or two others along so that the presence of witnesses will keep things honest and try again. If he still won't listen, tell the church. If he won't listen to the church, you will have to start over from scratch. Confront him with the need for repentance and offer God's forgiving love. Confront him with the need for repentance and offer God's forgiving love. I think I want to digress on that a bit, I think I want to talk about that in a way. Let's discuss. Because I don't want anything happening and they will be like, oh, he just read it out. That's how we end it. Let's go and do it with it. I feel now, when you reread that particular issue, so short, but it's concise, it's brief, and it's detailed. But then, if you do not ruminate on it well enough, and you decide to just act on it exactly like word for word the way it's written there, you are going to come up to people as being proud, as being not of God, and the way it says do it with the church in most cases is not going to just work. You saying you want to do it with the church like this. Let me give detailed breakdown and instances. It says if a fellow believer hurts you, go and tell him, work it out between the two of you. First things first, note it says a fellow believer. It didn't say an unbeliever. Now, when you've ascertained that the person is an unbeliever, I beg, go tell God. Nobody send you go babalawo as go tell him, say, you hurt me. I'm here to tell you that you need to receive forgiveness. Nobody told you to do that, though. If the person is not an unbeliever, I would say talk to God about it. Now, I'm in no way a cleric. I'm not a clergyman, so yeah, you can take my advice that I'm giving right now like a pinch of salt, right? Or if you want to hear my opinion on this is it. If a fellow believer hurts you and you find that the person is a believer, good, nice and good, right? Go ahead and tell them about it. If he listens, you've made a friend. If he won't listen, take one or two others along you so that the presence of witnesses will keep things honest. I think it's a no-brainer for you to understand that when it says take one or two others along with you, it did not say just take any random person. You're a believer dealing with a believer. No, just go carry, say, oh, I want to go tell my EA, this, that, blah, blah. And your EA is someone you've not successfully converted to Christianity or something, right? Get to other believers, preferably people that he's acquainted with, even if he's not a close friend to them and all of that, right? So the environment, the ambience which you guys will set for the meeting will be cool enough to want to keep things proper, like the conversations not starting off as a heated one. Now, when the two of you discuss in the presence of all those people, if he still won't listen, tell the church. Now, this is where I think it gets even trickier. It says tell the church. It did not say tell your church. Now, let's say the believer that I'm dealing with that is proven to be such an excellent task right now, doesn't attend the same church as I do, Simply Worship International Ministry, right? And probably is from Redeemed Christian Church of God. Do you think it will make so much sense for me to go and tell my church and be like, I'm summoning him to the church and that the church should speak to him? Who knows? This believer that I even have an issue with might not even be attending a branch that is in my state, and it was only around in the States for just those few moments I used the other believers and all of that, and it's off. That will not be feasible. The idea of tell the church does not simply also mean you will not report to his church, which could actually lead to the whole thing being attempted to be resolved, which will be isolated. And let's not be deceptive to ourselves. We are humans. By default, the reception from the other church will not be as seamless as if you were from that church. And if the person is not a prominent member in that church, it won't really reach a place of attention as quick as possible. You know how many people are in a church? Like, it's a lot of people. Now, that begs the question, how then do I tell the church? Well, it's actually easy. You can't really tell the church because the church is never really, oh, this is simply worship. Oh, this is a mountain of fire. Oh. The church is not the building. The church is not the brand. The church is not the franchise. The church is not the name. The church is the brethren, the people of God coming together, right? Tell the people of God, a group, maybe the prayer meeting, a sub-cell that you guys, that's the church in a way already on its own. Tell them, a church that knows you and know him, right? And if he still won't listen to the church, offer again God's unforgiving love. Now, when you are offering again God's unforgiving, oh, sorry, not unforgiving, sorry, what am I saying? Offer again God's forgiving love. Like the book says, like I'm reading the stuff the book said, and I'm taking it step by step again. When we switch over to the other scene, you would see it, or if you play it back, you'll see what we're talking about. Offer again God's forgiving love. Now, we are not of the world, but we are in the world. You knew this person as a believer, but it has been that tough to this point. To tell you something, there are some uncanny seeds that has already taken root and are growing in the spirit in a way, especially if you've done some self introspection and you realize that you yourself are not being a bad person. If you can find yourself in your moments of isolation in absolute belief that you are not in the wrong, then you should be careful. You want to go again and offer from scratch, which means you one on one, God's forgiveness. Try to get them to repentance. Don't do it in a secluded place. You don't know if that day you are going to go and meet this man or woman alone. That's the day they become an unbeliever and takes some drastic measure to just end everything, which can lead to, oh, let me just end him and everything ends. Oh no, let me just set him up and ruin him in this way or that. No, don't. When we read these things, when we try to apply God's advice, when we try to apply Jesus' teachings, I think wisdom is profitable to apply with absolute discernment of the current setting wherein you exist, the current set of people which you deal with. You understand? So that's what I will have to say as regards that. In every single point you take these steps, you have to be very pragmatic and careful. Let's continue. So it says, issue 8. When a person becomes one of your followers late in life, does that mean he or she has a lesser place in heaven? This must be Christ being questioned. Basically, God. Listen to this story. God's kingdom is like an estate manager who went out early in the morning to hire workers for his vineyard. They agreed on a wage of $1 a day and went to work. Later, about 9 o'clock, the manager saw some other men hanging around the town square, unemployed. God, I beg. He told them to go work in his vineyard and he will pay them a fair wage. They went. He did the same thing at noon and again at 3 o'clock. At 5 o'clock, he went back and found still others standing around, and he said, "Why are you standing around all day doing nothing?" They said, "Because no one hired us." God, I beg you. No one hired us. He told them to go work in his vineyard. When the day's work was over, the owner of the vineyard instructed his farmer, call the workers in and pay them their wages. Start with the last hired and go on to the first. Those hired at 5 o'clock came up and were given each $1. When those who were hired first saw that, they assumed they would get far more, but they got the same. They groused angrily, but they got the same. Each of them $1. Taking the dollar, they groused angrily to the manager. These last workers put in only one easy hour, and you just made them equal to us, who slaved all day under a scorching sun. He replied to the one speaking for the rest, friend, I haven't been unfair. We agreed on the wage of $1, didn't we? So take it and go. I decided to give the one who came last the same as you. Can't I do what I want with my money? Are you going to get stingy because I am generous? Here it is again, the great reversal. Many of the firsts ending up last, and the last first. The first shall become the last, and the last shall become the first. Here it is again, the great reversal. Many of the first ending up last, and the last first. It applies a whole lot in our daily lives too. Most workers don't bargain right when they are about to get hired. They get hired and they want to start acting up. No, don't play with someone's business. If you feel you're getting underpaid, don't try to do it on the basis of you are trying to. I think the worst way to actually get a salary raise or get a proper payment in the first place is when you try to do comparisons. Try to shove them to pay you more because you feel they're doing it for someone else or you feel another company is doing it that way. Rather, let them know this is my what? This is what I want to get paid. And regardless of what they decide to do afterwards, it is actually really not your business. And it is their prerogative to act accordingly, how they want. When you negotiate, negotiate for yourself. Don't negotiate to be better than the next person. Negotiate to get the best for yourself, not to get something better than the next person. I think that's the that's one of the ways to get yourself up. And don't ever be jealous of someone getting um also getting something in life. It's one of the fastest way to become a miserable person. And basically, this part answers the question that might be on some people's mind: is it not too late for me to become a Christian? Is it not ever going to be too late for me to do right by God, to be a good person? It can never be too late except you have stopped breathing, which means you can no longer do. Definitely not within this realm any longer. But while there is the breath in your lungs, don't ever lose the longing to good. All right. It is still very much right on time, right on cue for you to be a good person. Hold on, guys. I need to plug this webcam in. Jesus Christ. It shows it as 1%. But it shows it's charging. I just hope it doesn't go up though. All right, let's go. We're almost done with because what I wanted us to do was take 10 issues today. We have only two left to take. So we're almost done. I just hope it stays though. Now that it's plugged in. 22, 26. What does it mean to be successful from God's point of view? That's what issue 9 is addressing. You've observed how godless rulers throw their weight around, how quickly a little power grows to their heads. It's not going to be that way with you. Whoever wants to be great must become a servant. Whoever wants to be first among you must be your slave. Don't look for shortcuts to God. The market is flooded with surefire, easygoing formulas for a successful life that can be practiced in your spare time. Don't fall for all that stuff. Even tough crowds, even though crowds of people do. The way to life to God is vigorous and require total attention. The way to life to God is vigorous and requires total attention. Because the way to God is the way to life. Otherwise, there is no life therein. The way to life to God is vigorous and requires total attention. Issue 10. So basically, I would say what that chapter just addresses as regards how does one become successful in the sight of God would be, in a nutshell, to be one with God, to have walked towards God, to have walked towards love, to have walked towards life, to have chosen life over death, to have woken up every day yearning as the deer panted for the water, to do right by God, to do with God, not to do out of God's will, not to do against God. You understand? So I feel that's what that part is addressing. Now, issue 10 says, I know that one day you will return to this world in power and glory. When will that be? It says, but the exact day and hour, no one knows that. Not even heaven's angels. Not even the Son. Only the Father. So keep a sharp lookout. For you don't know the timetable. God's kingdom is like 10 young virgins who took oil lamps and went out to greet the bridegroom. 5 were silly and 5 were smart. The silly virgins took lamps but no extra oil. The smart virgins took jars of oil to feed their lamps. The bridegroom didn't show up when they expected him, and they all fell asleep. In the middle of the night, someone yelled, He's here. The bridegroom's here. Go out and greet him. The 10 virgins got up and got their lamps ready. The silly virgins said to the smart ones, Our lamps are out, are going out. Lend us some of your oil. They answered, There might not be enough to go around. Go buy your own. They did. But while they were out buying oil, the bridegroom arrived. When everyone who was there to greet him had gone into the wedding feast, the door was locked. Much later, the other virgins, the silly ones, showed up and knocked on the door, saying, Master, we are here. Let us in. He answered, Do I know you? I don't think I know you. So stay alert. You have no idea when it might arrive. Be like house servants waiting for their master to come back from his honeymoon. Waiting for the master to come back from his honeymoon. Awake and ready to open the door when he arrives and knocks. Lucky the servants whom the master finds on watch. He will put on an apron, eat them at the table, and serve them a meal, sharing his wedding feast with them. It doesn't matter what time of the night he arrives, they are awake and so blessed. Watch out for the doomsday deceivers. Many leaders are going to show up with forged identities claiming I am the one. They will deceive a lot of people. When you hear of wars and rumored wars, keep your head and don't panic. This is routine history and no sign of the end. Nation will fight nation and ruler fight ruler over and over. Stay with it. That's what is required. Stay with it to the end. You won't be sorry. You will be saved. I'm A to Z, the first and the final, beginning and conclusion. How blessed are those who wash their robes. The tree of life is theirs for good, and they will walk through the gates to the city. So stay alert. So stay alert. You have no idea when he might arrive. And that's issue 10. That will be about the end of the stream. So basically, I think that speaks of Don't wait because you know that when you work only 1 hour, you get the same pay. You know that when you repent towards the end, you will still get saved. Because you don't know when the end will be. So get yourself saved already. Start doing good already. That is you staying at alert. And basically, being a good person can never be something you can go wrong with. Sorry, guys, the webcam has gone out. Being a good person is something you can never really go wrong with. So when you stay at alert, when you stay being a good person, you will always get the good that is coming to you in the end and the good of the moment. I hope the reading so far has been beneficial and a blessing to us. I pray that the words instigate some changes for the good in our hearts and in our life in general. I hope and pray that we see the manifestation of it all in our lives for the better by God's grace. And that will be the end of the stream. Basically, thanks to God for this. I love it, and every single one of you, all that showed up, I appreciate it. And I'll see you guys on the next one. But for now, ciao. Gracias.